warm welcome to a special report on Agricultural Research Council of Nigerian Television, ARCN Abuja. My name is Bilkisu Suleiman. President, Association of Organic Agric Practitioners of Nigeria, presented an award to the Executive Secretary of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria, Professor Garba Hamidu Sharubutu, on Wednesday, 22nd August 2023, during a courtesy visit to the Council. The President, Dr. Jude Obi, appreciated the Executive Secretary for his endless support and encouragement during every event called upon.
We'll continue to get across to the Council through Dr. Omar, who is ever ready to support us, who is ever ready to communicate our request, our interest to the Agricultural Council of Nigeria through the Executive Secretary. And I repeat, he had never turned us down. The first time we visited this place, we had an activity. We were given an opportunity to record our activities, and it aired in their television station. People continue to call me from around the country, even from outside the country. Jude, we saw you on TV. Wow, it is an international. What is happening? I won't even remember. But that is one of the things we have benefited from Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria through the Executive Secretary, and we are happy. And when we have looked at all these that we say that if there is someone that will be given an award as an ambassador of organic agriculture, that the Executive Secretary is number one. That he is number one. Now, part of what we do as ambassadors of organic agriculture is that we know that we need a voice. All these things we are saying, we continue to go to the radio. People don't believe us. We need strong voice. And we believe that the Executive Secretary is one of those strong voices that can convince people that organic agriculture is real. When the chips are down, you see our members that are so passionate. For instance, we have someone that resigned. He was a lawyer. He resigned from NLNG and went into organic agriculture practice because her mother died of cancer. Now, the amount of produces that she produced now, it is specialized and it doesn't last because cancer patients continue to look for it. And importantly, some people, when they go to the hospital, the doctors will prescribe, go and eat organic. And most times, they are not readily available. So we want to propagate it because once we're able to eat more organic, we have longer life, we live healthier, and our environment will be protected because organic agriculture is, the core of organic agriculture is to protect the resilience of the environment.
The Executive Secretary showed his excitement and readiness to put in his best to the association. He went further to create a desk for the association in the council and urged the desks will be created in the 32 institutes and colleges to foster the growth of the association.
Matters that have to do with research in agriculture, training in agriculture, as well as extension. Now, when you combine these three things, you know that that is the root of agriculture. What remains is just our interaction with the farmers and maybe going into practical farming. So, mandate divided into three: research, training, and extension work. Now, you will find out that if we really have to succeed, then definitely we have to partner with organizations such as yours in order for us to succeed. Because you cannot advise the government when you don't know what the associations are facing. When you go to the government, they ask you numerous questions, and you cannot answer those questions because you don't even know who to hold responsible. And that's the more reason why we are very keen in getting really progressive people in the area of agriculture for us to be able to get the necessary data for us to plan. Because if we do not advise the government with data, they will not be able to plan. So in order to undertake our activities, we have brought 16 agricultural research institutions under us. And these agricultural research institutions are commodity-based. These commodities are themselves grouped. So we have the cereals, we have the root crop, we have livestock, we have fisheries. So we have various institutions that take care of the crops, the livestock, and fisheries. Even in the crops, we make sure that we create these institutions and domicile them, given the geographical potential and dimension of each of the regions. So, for example, where we have commodities such as freshwater fisheries, we domicile them around the river Niger, and of course, around the Lake Chad. For crops, cereals, we also domicile them in the North Central, and that's where we have a Cereal Research Institute. For root crop, we domicile them in the southern part of this country, where they grow a lot of root crops. So this is how we have made our distribution. But even at that, if you say root crop, you have a diverse of them that survive in the south, they survive in the west, survive in the north central, in the northeast, and the northwest. So we have also empowered each of our agricultural research institute to look at where they have commodity that falls under their mandate to establish outstations there. You know, we copy democracy in the positive and negative way, because our politics determined what type of democracy we practice. Our politics also determine the area in which you locate your facility, because one person will rise up today at the National Assembly to say, no, you have concentrated root crop here, I also farm yam, I farm ginger, I farm potato, either sweet or the other potato. So this is how we distribute our research institute. But in order for us to make sure that our research findings are properly understood by the farmer, we decided to introduce training. And so for each of the agricultural research institute, we have an associated Federal College of Agriculture. So we have colleges of agriculture that deal with crops. We have colleges of agriculture that deal with fish. We have colleges of agriculture that deal with marine products. And we also have colleges of agriculture that deal with storage, that deals with land utilization. So in all, we have 17 colleges of agriculture under our purview. Again, just like our research institute, they are also commodity-based, and so we spread them across the length and breadth of this country. These exactly are the institutions that come under the purview of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. And we have been doing well. They have been covered by law, by an act that establishes it. This act is undergoing amendment virtually every time, because when we go outside, we hold conferences together with our international partners. We learn a lot of lessons, then we come back here and decide to domicile it, so that at least we'll make our institutions more justiciable for us to be able to keep focus. Today, I can assure you that we have been trying to update most of the things we are doing. Our contact with them was not just too far. It was as recent as about 2-3 years ago, where due to the hard work they have exhibited, they have been able to drag us into organic agriculture. And of course, they have pointed out to us most of the areas of our deficiency. I can tell you quite frankly that attending their meetings and their conferences has opened our horizon. Number one, the issue of soil is something that is very, very serious to them. Maybe because the president is a soil scientist, but he has expressed, his discontent about the way our farmers handle the issue of soil, about the way we distribute our products in the research institute, not minding soil. And I think that we have been able to build a crop of very good soil scientists here We have about 3 of them now that have been able to acquire their postgraduate just because of our relationship together with you. The second thing the association has also been able to bring to our attention is the manner in which we distribute our seed. You recall that when you give people seed without actually taking care of, the farm size and the farm location, according to them, is a problem. Because all crops that are wind pollinated or insect pollinated, and you decide to grow organic agricultural farms very close to those ones that are not involved in organic agriculture, according to them, the insects will pick the pollen grain from one farm that is mainly inorganic and then transfer it to the stigma of those that are grown organic. So they have been cautioning us on the way we are supposed to advise our farmers in such a way that we should form clusters of farms that are they are organic agriculture based. Now I can assure you that we have new ministers that have come in on board, and we are just sitting down and discussing the strategy we are going to undertake in order to ask them to implement all the recommendations we have. In fact, this morning we were talking before he went out to receive you, that how do we incorporate the advice from the association into the speech we are going to present. Because we don't want a situation where the minister will come and it will be business as usual. I hope that they will be able to accept our recommendation. And where there is a need, Jude, I wouldn't mind dragging you, however far it is, for you to come and if there is any advice you give us so that we can see the Honorable Minister. The good thing there is that one of the Honorable Ministers that we have, the Minister of State, is a product of the Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. So I can assure you that it's not going to be a problem having you to actually advise. One other area we have also learned lesson, which are of course related to soil and fertility, is the fact that they are also looking at ways in which the so-called manure that we are getting will be recategorized into manure that is accepted from organic products and those that are also involved with inorganic. A lot of things we have been doing with poultry manure, with cow dung, and of course, coming from the veterinary angle, they have a lot of antibiotics, a lot of chemicals, a lot of urea incorporated. So when they defecate and we're able to measure the quantity of inorganic materials into it, it's likely going to affect the product that is come. Now, I am saying that because that is for them to also remember that after teaching me, they know that I have actually assimilated their concern. Thank you very much.
The Executive Secretary highlighted the mandates and said, as an umbrella body, saddled with the responsibility of advising the government on matters that has to do with research, training, and extension in agriculture.
Apart from advising the government, designing research, finding money to fund research and all the rest, one key aspect of our mandate is information, documentation, and communication. The primary aim is for us to be able to take research findings to the doorstep of our end users, to communicate with our partners, to make sure that they really understand the work we are doing. And based on that, we have a Department of Knowledge Management and Communication. And under that department, we decided that if you look at the Nigerian context, you have so many radio and television stations. Some are into music. A lot of them, FM radios, they are into music. And when we looked at it, we found out that there's no communication institution that deals directly with agriculture. And if you want to explain anything to do with agriculture, it takes about 1 hour, 2 hours for people to really understand where you're coming from. And we have found out that anytime we go for airtime, in most of the national televisions or private ones, they'll give us a short period of 5 minutes. And these 5 minutes we have to pay very heavily. So when I computed within a year, I found out that if we are very prudent, we should be able to operate our own radio and television. And so these are the crew members of our radio and television. And in fact, they are the ones that are going to cover this program. The good thing there is that they link up with the national television. They have an understanding. So they cover and they send it out. Now, and of course, I have to introduce myself. My name is Garba Hamidu Sharubutu. Sharubutu means drink writing. Drink writing. For those of you maybe who understand a bit about the Hausa and the Islamic culture, we do learning on slate. You know, when Islam was introduced through recitation. So everything they do is not the education type, it is recitation. And for you to be able to know recitation very well, you keep on writing on the slate and memorizing. You keep on writing and memorizing. Now, in the tradition of the Muslims, you can cite any part of the Quran when you are having problems. In my own case, my mother had protracted labor. And so when she had protracted labor, they called the malams to come and pray for her. So they recited part of the Quran and wrote it on a slate. Then they washed it, gave her to drink, and by the special grace of God, they gave back to me. So this person has drank right. So that's the essence. Now with this, I want to welcome you most sincerely, and maybe request that before we go on, if we can have an introduction of those of you that are here. You're welcome.
Dr. Jude also gave a brief history of the association, while Patricia, the project manager of IFAM Organic International, narrated the success story of the Train the Trainee training held, where participants interacted and were open-minded to put in what they've learned into practice.
Now, the Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria, it started among the lecturers. And it started in 2008. But it was incorporated in 2012. And within that time, it still existed as among lecturers because the major thing they were doing is to look for funds to support capacity building research on organic agriculture. But as it grew both in size and bounds and had international connection, the name changed from NUAN to Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria. Simply, in all the countries of the world, it is known as movement. It is known as movement. So the effort was to register NUAN as movement, but because Nigeria is in the name, they said no. They said no. So that is why the name changed to Association of Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria. So, and because it is practitioners, it then means that opportunity must be given to everybody within the value chain. So, we now started aggressively to touch every component of the value chain. You know, you can imagine journalists having a strong footing in the association, which means that everybody has his or her own place and role to play to support the organic agriculture.
The leaders of these kind of organizations developing research, how important it is as governments, as a government sector, to really go and align and be responsible with the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. And we know that organic agriculture is giving practical solutions for in all of them, but especially in more than half of them, and SDG number 2, to end hunger and all type of malnutrition, malnutrition is also being tackled by organic agriculture. And we had recently a global project, and we managed to improve in Peru, well, I'm Peruvian, I was born in Peru, 30% the diet of people, of the most vulnerable, with agroecology, with organic products. So there is evidence, there is a lot of work for more than 40 years that is bringing us really true sustainable solutions for hunger, malnutrition, and of course to end poverty, especially in our countries that struggle so much. And the role of governments are really important because we need that support. We need that kind of articulation to the movement, as Dr. Jude was mentioning. And bringing public policies that are aligned with organic movement and sector will speed up the process of transition, which is probably the major bottleneck when we want to build, we want to scale up organic agriculture in our countries. So we need from one side research, we need to get these solutions, we have this need of technical solutions but also social innovations because this is about people, it is a people-centered approach. And we also need to skill up. So scaling up comes with on hands with skilling up people. So I think you are in the right track saying that you are stepping in training to go with working with college, universities, and also working with extensionists and delivering this information and solutions to farmers.
The Executive Director of the National Research Institute, Imiduke, Professor Chidiozi, added that agric programs should be created at secondary school level to encourage agriculture at early stage.
I felicitate with you and I want to thank the association and the partners for recognizing us with this award. As we were talking, I was thinking what would really give us the leverage when we talk about scaling up sustainability of organic agriculture. I think one missing part would be the young kids. We've had adopted villages and adopted schools, and we have a program at the school level, expose secondary school or high school, you call it, expose children and have them, it gets into their psyche as an opportunity that we can use. For myself, the National Crop Research Institute, we have been talking and working with a few organizations and even looking for resources, even with some UK organization that is about to give us, I think there's a grant that is in the making for organic agriculture, organic pesticides, but they are insisting they will work with our seed company. They want it to be private sector driven, but public sector engaged. And that is what we should do in organic agriculture. Research alone will not deliver the results. You can publish papers, you can put the technologies on shelf, but until it is out there in practice, and that's what we think we need to do. There's an organization here in Abuja, right here in Maitama, Contech Agro. They are producing organic fertilizer at commercial scale. So we are talking with them for cassava. My organization is on roots and tubers, cassava, yam, potatoes, sweet potato, and all the rest, ginger. So these are crops that even in the export market, people are demanding for the organically produced ones. So what is the evidence? It is the kind of fertilizer used, and it's the kind of agrochemicals. So you mentioned something about South-South. There needs to be South-South collaboration on scaling up, but also on research. What is the adapted technology that we can use? What's working in Peru or in Spain or in Mexico may not work here because of a few differences in climate, but I think they can be applied and we can modify them and apply and then scale up.
And the vote of thanks was presented by Dr. Ademola Moshood, the Provost of Land Resource Technology, Kuru.
Well, the vote of thanks is very short, but there's a key thing that I need to chip in. We're talking about organic agriculture. needs advocacy and sensitization. Very key. And you're talking about the youths. The colleges have the youths as our students. And we will work with the desk officer to design a curriculum in which we are going to embed in the crop production, maybe specifically to address organic agriculture. With that, I want to say thank you for recognizing our ES by this award. We know it's for us and it's going to make us to work more. So I want to thank everybody that is here. So to make it a short one, thank you everyone.
2023. Congratulations.
That's our special report on the presentation of award to the Executive Secretary of ARCN by the Association of Organic Agri Practitioners of Nigeria. My name is Bilkisu Suleiman.